We're here today, the BTA YUHSB Israel Alumni Tribute to Rabbi Abraham Zuroff on his 90th birthday. During Rabbi Zuroff's tenure at BTA was housed at 3 different locations. Each building came to represent and symbolize a unique period in BTA's colorful history. The first was President Street from 1945 to 1954, where Rabbi Zuroff was the administrator. From 1955 to 1967, at Church in Bedford, he became the principal. 1968 until he left in 1976 on East 14th Street, which I've never heard called East 14th Street, but rather the Avenue M building. He was both principal and supervisor of the 4 Yeshiva University high schools. On our first day as freshmen, we were introduced to Rabbi Zuroff's famous behavioral code of conduct, something he reminded us of many, many times during our 4 years in the hallowed halls of BTA. And I expect you, all of you, to conduct yourselves in a manner befitting a student of Torah. May 1814, Napoleon is exiled to the island of Elba. September 1962, Effie is exiled to the island of Manhattan. There were many, many unique things about BTA. 2 of the things I remember and I'm pointing out here. BTA had a marvelous advanced physical education program consisting of ping pong and knock hockey. Any felon that was caught playing slam bang knock hockey was paid in command by Harry Morse, the physical education director, with a play slam bang, will you idiot? On the other hand, we had Senor Cantor. Senor Cantor was unique in that he was able to teach French, Spanish, and Latin. And very often did, depending on how the class greeted him when he walked in. If they said bonjour, he taught them French. If he said buenos dias, he would teach them Spanish. He even very often read the roll call from Central. Everybody answered present. A person's worth is often judged by the riches that he has managed to accrue during his lifetime. If we were to take a look in Rabbi Zuroff's treasure chest, what do you think we would find? Rabbi Zuroff's treasure chest is filled with the most valuable of treasures, all his students, a living testimony to his life's achievements. Kol hamarbe betalmidim marbe bechokma. Adam gadol va'ashir b'Torah ma'amid talmidim harbe. Rabbi Zuroff had us only for 4 years. In spite of that, he was able to make a marked impression on our lives. He was able to guide us in the right direction, teach us about the responsibilities that we will soon be facing as we headed out on our own. Some of his boys turned out to be stars. Class of 1949, Martin Kahana. From his yearbook, you can see that even then he knew unfortunately, he came to an early end, and we are all very sorry about that. Class of 1955, Alan Dershowitz, who credits Rabbi Zuroff with his astute guidance, which led him to his present career. Dershowitz, find a job where you can use your mouth and not your brain. You should become a lawyer. I came across this cartoon when I was Googling Alan Dershowitz. The judge is telling the court clerk, I'm afraid I'll have to recuse myself from this trial. I can't stand Alan Dershowitz. We spoke to Alan, and while he would have liked to come, he wasn't able to, but he said that he would send a greeting, and indeed he did.
I'm also about Rabbi Zura on reaching the near biblical age of 90. I was not your best student. I have in front of me my report card. Academy, 60 in mathematics, 65 in Hebrew, that's out of 100. 60 in physics, not very good. I was not as respectful as I could have been. So, after all these years, I'm sorry. Maybe it turned out best for both of us. I go to Yeshiva University, where my parents wanted me to go. Instead, I went to Brooklyn College, where I did okay. So, Rosa, we both done well.
It is with deep feelings that I welcome all of you who have chosen to give up a Friday to help me and my family celebrate my 90th birthday. Thank you, all of you who have taken the time to come from near and far in Israel to show your appreciation for that which BTA might have contributed to your lives. I also want to take this opportunity to express a shevach v'hodaya to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who has made all this possible. To my wife, Esther, who has given of her mind, heart, and soul to make possible the attainment of our goals. I spent many significant years as an undergraduate, smicha, and graduate student in Yeshiva University. For many of those years, I was privileged to study under and learn from the Rav and from Dr. Belkin. The lessons they taught me, how to learn, how to approach a difficult passage in Gemara, and how to reason and solve problems, were enhanced by one more unstated lesson, and that was, to learn is wonderful, but to be able to give the gift of learning to others is more precious. It was what inspired me to go into chinuch and led me to be your principal. When Dr. Belkin, the second president of Yeshiva University, made the decision in 1945 to start a yeshiva high school in Brooklyn, I went with Dr. Sapphire, the principal of MTA, to check out a possible building. There on President Street, we saw a huge building that we thought was the location. Upon entering the armory and inquiring, we were directed across the street. And there was a small, ramshackle house with few rooms. It was a bit of a surprise, but with time, the building was expanded. A lunchroom was added, and it was beautified just a bit. However, for gym, the boys had to go across the street to a rented storefront with a large open space. Later, we moved to the corner of Bedford and Church Avenue, and Mrs. Roseman Zichrona Livracha, the secretary, joined our staff. We now had a true high school building. But still, for gym, the boys had to play outside in that schoolyard. Soon after, Central for Girls opened its doors just a few blocks away. It afforded an opportunity for the boys and girls to meet at the local pizza store. Later yet, we moved to Midwood, where the facilities were new and modern. It had all the conveniences expected of a top-notch high school. Now we finally had our own gym, and now the boys and girls schools were separated by a mere door. It made socializing that much easier. Throughout the years, the students of our yeshiva were the best and brightest, full of spirit and fire. There was the day a subscription to Playboy arrived at our home. And then there was the day that a pepperoni pizza arrived. And then there was the weekend when the phone rang repeatedly in response to an ad in a local paper that offered a relatively new car for $150. As some of you might know, we never had a car. The boys who constituted BTA were clearly not necessarily the best behaved students. And at times, it was a challenge to compete and contend with them. However, in the final analysis, I look back with pride on each and every one of the students. Thank God, it is not our years in high school that determine our ultimate value. Rather, it is how we function as adults that determines our true quality. The graduates of BTA have entered a wide spectrum: academia, medicine, law, many areas of science, business, and at least of equal importance, Torah and Jewish education. As adults, where is this? Oh, just one moment, excuse me for a moment. The fact is that we are, just a minute, just 1 minute. Oh, here it is. Each of you exemplifies the qualities of warmth, friendship, and chesed as evidenced by your attendance. Most importantly, look around and see how many of you live here in Eretz Yisrael. Kol HaKavod. My wish for you is that you should have pride in yourselves, our homeland, your past, and your lives of Torah and Yiddishkeit. Thank you. Now that the statute of limitations has run out, I would like to know if anyone here today is responsible for the Playboy magazine.